Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Don't stand up for Medicaid now. In spite of my honorable military service, the Senate will kill my child.
I want the people that are trying to take this away from us to put yourself in our seats.
Congress people, you got free health care paid for by the people, and then you don't want the people to have the same thing you have. That is sick, and we must challenge it.
This bill will deny millions of people the health care that they need. This is policy violence.
And we won't be silent anymore.
Today is Thursday, June 26, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Explosive closing arguments in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors accuse him of leading a criminal enterprise. We'll hear from legal analyst Candace Kelley. The Supreme Court opens the door for states to defund Planned Parenthood, putting essential health care for millions of women at risk. Fireworks on Capitol Hill. Two black female members of Congress, Jasmine Crockett and Lateefah Simon, they go off against Republicans. Man, we're going to show you that. And speaking of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, what the hell are Democrats doing? How do they choose a no-name Democrat to lead the House Oversight Committee who doesn't really say anything that you can remember? They pick him over Crockett, who folks know, want to hear, who can raise money, hugely popular. What the hell are they doing? Plus, we'll examine the findings of an expert in election forensics who claims there is statistical evidence of vote manipulation in the 2024 U.S. election. Plus, Iran has stated it will not back down from a nuclear program despite U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. Congresswoman Alma Adams will join us to talk about this. Yo, it's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's rolling Martin, rolling with rolling now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's rolling Martin now.
All right, folks, explosive testimony, closing arguments in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Let's go right to legal analyst Candace Kelley to break down what happened in the courtroom. Candace.
Well, Roland, listen, each side, the prosecution and the defense, they give 4 hours for their closing argument. Actually, the prosecution went a little over 4 hours, but I don't think that the defense minded. I'm sure they did not want to go today because this is a long day for jurors, and you want to make sure that they are fresh. So the defense will give their closing argument tomorrow. But what we heard today were the prosecutors taking us step by step through each of the charges, each of the victims, and how the evidence matched up with each one according to them and according to their witness. This is certainly what they hope the jury will believe. I think that one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that July 4th is coming. The jury is getting a little bit tired. These are very long closing arguments, but this is the time where prosecution and the defense get to make what they want stick, connect all of those dots, and this is really their last chance to do so. So we heard a lot about what we heard in the trial already, but we heard it all at one time. This has been 6 weeks. This is something that I'm sure a lot of information and details the jury has forgotten about, and that is what the prosecution kept in mind as they spoke today, to remind them of the things that they may have forgotten. I would imagine that this will probably go into deliberations on Monday, but tomorrow is when we will hear from the defense and their closing arguments.
In these arguments today, of course, they pretty much reiterated what we heard over the last 6 weeks, but also explain to people about these charges being dropped and why that was done.
Yeah, so what's interesting is that when you get these charges, you get them on a charge sheet in terms of the jury. They know exactly what the charges are going to be, and the prosecution and the defense have the opportunity to lay out how they want those charges presented. Wording really matters. So there are many charges, because not only do we have sex trafficking, right? You have to go sex trafficking for this victim, and the next victim. So it multiplies by 3 and 4, depending upon how many victims. What the prosecution said was that when it comes to attempted kidnapping and when it comes to attempted arson, we are going to get rid of that particular theory. But we are going to keep arson and kidnapping on these particular jury deliberation sheets and charge sheets. So really, we're just kind of fine-tuning and streamlining their theory. Because really, if you think that somebody committed arson, well, then you probably think that they attempted to commit arson. It kind of merges together. And what happens is that during jury instructions, for example, those also take many, many hours. And I think that the more charges they remove, again, the less the jury has to sit. Listen, it's 104 degrees a couple days this week. The less the jury has to sit and come to this trial. And I think that that's very helpful when we're talking about the jury, the time, July 4th coming up. But really, kidnapping and arson are staying. It's just attempted kidnapping and attempted arson kind of merge with those particular offenses, and so they remove them.
And again, for people who have not sat on a jury, who've not followed a trial, you say they have to walk through each charge, and you say that's about 45 minutes each?
Yeah, so that each charge, what will happen after the closing arguments are done, we're going to hear from the judge, and the judge is going to give jury instructions. And here's where he goes through all of the laws, all of everything that Sean Combs is accused of, from arson to kidnapping to bribery to extortion to the drug offenses. And he's going to explain what they have to look for in each of these offenses, what the law says about each of these offenses, what they can consider, what they can't consider, things of that nature. So it's very detailed. That will take hours. So when you remove some of those charges, it's very, very helpful in terms of some of the time. But that is the next step. And then, of course, when they go to the deliberation room, the next step that the jurors have to do is select a foreperson. That foreperson manages what's going on, make sure that everybody gets their voices heard. If they want to see any evidence, they send a note to the judge. The foreperson is the person that sends the note to that judge, and they can ask for evidence. They can go back and forth if they have questions. As long as it's been entered into evidence, they can ask, hey, listen, we have questions about this evidence, or even question about the law. Many times juries go in and they say, hey, listen, what if we're a hung jury? So any information that they want, those are the next steps that we're looking at with the jury.
The Diddy defense, he did not testify. They did not call any witnesses. Again, for folk who don't really understand these things, explain what their strategy was by them not calling any witnesses. Was it simply a matter of saying, hey, they don't think the prosecution proved their case?
Yeah, and that's key to it, because the prosecution is the one who has to do the work here. They have to prove the case. Sean and his people, they can sit back and say, hey, listen, you didn't prove it. And that's actually the theory that we're going to use. You didn't prove it. Now, a lot of people will say, well, listen, they didn't call any witnesses. Why? Isn't there even a character witness? The truth kind of is, Roland, that they have called witnesses, and that on cross-examination, they at least to get to kind of poke holes maybe in a witness's story and bring out some bias or bring about some inconsistent statements. On their list of witnesses that they said they were going to have, they had a couple of people who were from Bad Boy Enterprises. They had their own forensic psychologists. But when you get somebody on the stand, you never know what's going to happen. Then you open the door for a lot more evidence to come in that may actually hurt the defendant. So they have said, which is why they called for an acquittal, which is, really procedural, but I'm sure that they meant it, that, hey, listen, you didn't prove your case. They asked for an acquittal. They did not get that. But that is their theory. You didn't prove your case, and you were supposed to, and you didn't do a good job. I personally would have loved to have heard from someone who was a part of the Bad Boy Enterprise to say, hey, this theory that the government has that this enterprise existed only for purposes of, criminal racketeering and fraud and force and coercion. No, it didn't. We're Bad Boy Records. We also were involved in Revolt TV. He had a liquor brand. He had a marketing brand. He had Sean John. It would have been good, I think, but again, opening a door that they weren't aware of could happen, but it would have established that, hey, this particular criminal enterprise that you're calling, it was a real business, but we did not hear from those witnesses. And of course, we didn't hear from Sean Combs, who spoke on his own behalf and said, I am not going to testify on my own behalf. I've talked to my attorneys. It was a decision that I made on my own. And that's when the defense rested.
And lastly, you also have a situation where I think the defense is like, okay, we're going to concede he's an asshole. He's an awful human being, but there's a difference between being an awful human being who physically beat a woman, who physically beat Cassie. That's different from RICO sex trafficking. And so everything, how they position this, hey, they just had a bunch of freaky sex. That's how they pretty much framed this.
Yeah, they had a bunch of freaky sex. They had a bunch of freaky partners, and everybody was consenting. And that Cassie, in their opening statements, they said, listen, these women were strong women. And that's what they're going to carry over into their closing argument. These were strong women. They had the right to make decisions about who they were, their body. And in fact, a lot of them took drugs and were on drugs. These are some of the points that the defense is going to make, that everybody was on drugs. Everybody consented. Everybody made these decisions on their own volition. They will also look to the digital footprint, all the texts and admiration, because all the witnesses, regardless of what they said, they all, by and large, well, most of them, in terms of those being in a relationship with them, they said, listen, I wish him well. I don't hate him. His assistants, even they said, listen, great experience. I learned a lot. I didn't mind working all these hours. But yes, that is what the defense is going to say. On their own volition, these women made their choices. And what are you going to do? People want to do drugs. They want to have sex. That's their own right. And that's what happened in this situation.
All right, then. Candace Kelley, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Good to see you, Roland.
Folks, going to a break. We come back. Lots of things happening on Capitol Hill. Ooh, members of Congress just lighten up these Republicans for sheer stupidity. Speaking of stupidity, you had some crazy-ass congressional hearings this week that just made no sense whatsoever. Then, of course, the back and forth with the Ron strike. You've got Pete Hegseth and Trump lashing out at the media because they're not praising and kissing their behind. Hegseth even said that this was the most complex, secretive military operation in history. Dumbass, do you not recall D-Day? They're idiots. I'll be right back. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
We don't stand up for Medicaid now. In spite of my honorable military service, the Senate will kill my child.
I want the people that are trying to take this away from us to put yourself in our seats.
Congress people, you got free health care paid for by the people. And then you don't want the people to have the same thing you have. That is sick, and we must challenge it.
This bill will deny millions of people the health care that they need. This is policy violence.
And we won't be silent anymore.
This week on The Other Side of Change, Juneteenth.
It's a day about blackness. It's a day about freedom. It's also a day about talking about justice delayed. And we are not in the business of justice being denied to us. So stick around. We're going to talk all about the case for reparations.
The push for reparations is not just an economic project, it's a moral project. So if we want to live up to the ideals of this foundation, then reparations has to be something that we pursue.
Only on The Other Side of Change on the Black Star Network.
What's up, y'all? This is Wendell Haskins, a.k.a. Win Hogan at the Original T Golf Classic. And you know I watch Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, it is always quite interesting when Congress is in session. Then you have these political hearings, and then you got these nutcase Republicans, and then, of course, you've got absolutely, utterly ridiculous and insane MAGA doing the things that they do. And it also exposes just how arrogant and shameful these people really are. This week, a variety of folk were on Capitol Hill testifying. Attorney General Pam Bondi, you had, of course, so many others, and with that crazy Carrie Lake, and it's just on and on and on, and how they don't even want to deal with corruption, don't want to answer questions when it comes to the budget. I mean, you've got you got Doug Collins with the VA. I mean, it's just sheer stupidity. Here's a perfect example of their arrogance. So here's Pam Bondi talking to a United States Senator from Oregon, And she said, you know what the hell? I'm just going to be a pissant in answering his questions. Listen to this.
A request by UAE to produce AI chips that would go to UAE. The National Security Advisor of UAE is also the CEO of MGX. So after that request for those chips occurred, MGX then said, we will buy 2 billion with a B, of the president's coins. And then the president went to the Middle East and said, we will get you those AI chips. Does this sequence of events in which a foreign government asked for a big favor, and we had previously banned these chips to UAE because of the national security concerns, then they buy $2 billion of the president's coins, and then the president goes to the Middle East and says, we will provide those chips. Does that sequence of events concern you about foreign influence on the United States of America?
The foreign influence on America that I would be concerned about if I were you was the Mexican national that resided in Oregon, who we just arrested, who had 384 pounds of methamphetamine. The foreign individual who I would be concerned about if I were a senator from Oregon is the Honduran drug trafficker who was residing in Portland for distributing fentanyl. The foreign national I would be concerned about if I was a Portland senator, an Oregon senator, is a Mexican national leader of a drug trafficking ring. Another one, fentanyl, firearms, fatal overdoses, all in your state.
You have made your point.
57,700 fentanyl pills and stolen firearms in Oregon. That's what we should work together on, not gotcha questions during a budget hearing.
Let me recognize Senator Merkley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Attorney General certainly has made the point that she's very concerned about issues that I'm concerned about as well regarding the security of this country. But let the record note that in terms of foreign influence and the sale of foreign influence through the president's coins, she absolutely refuses to respond and instead turns to a whole list of different topics. I think it's important for the leader of the Justice Department of the United States to be very concerned about foreign influence, and I encourage you to take on that topic and not consider it an offense that those of us who are concerned here, Democrats and Republicans, want Americans to make American decisions, not foreign influence being bought through crypto coins.
Senator Murkowski.
You see right there the arrogance. You see just the despicable behavior in terms of how they answer questions, how they want to go on the attack. See, what y'all got to remember is there's an audience of one. Donald Trump sends these idiots to Capitol Hill, and he wants to see them trashing and chastising and things along those lines. That's what you see happening. Then, of course, you had the hearing of Kari Lake, of course, who leads VOA, and they just sit here, and again, they just lie and lie and lie and say crazy things, and so here's an Arizona congressman ripping Kari Lake. Watch this.
Cannot believe a word you say. You ran for governor in Arizona in 2022. You lost fair and square. Instead of conceding, you embarrassed yourself and our state by lying again and again for years, blaming everything under the sun for your loss except for your own toxic politics. You lie about that election to this very day. You lied about signatures on mail-in ballots not matching those on file. Proven wrong. You lied about ballots being intentionally misprinted and then rejected in Republican areas. Total BS. You lied and said hundreds of thousands of ballots were mishandled. Zero evidence. You claimed fake ballots were snuck into batches before they were counted. Come on. You repeated these lies again and again, and you've said even recently, quote, I am the duly elected governor. They just stole it, unquote. Give me a break. Ms. Lake, your new role requires you to tell the truth. For decades, whenever authoritarians and dictators suppressed the people and claimed victory in fraudulent elections, Voice of America countered those lies. I can't imagine how people fighting for democracy today and around the world can trust someone who has so shamelessly lied about her own election.
Will the gentleman yield to the question?
Lake, no, I will not.
Okay,
Ms. Lake.
That's what you do. I mean, you call them for who they are. You lay out and you lay out and you check them. But see, again, they are deranged and crazy. They have said she, in fact, even challenged one particular member by saying, well, what were you saying when they were calling you gay? See, they want the fight. Not only that, check this out. So Senator Jon Ossoff was talking to Russell Vought, and they were going over the budget. They were talking about the budget and things along those lines. And when you talk about, again, how they don't want to answer questions, how they want to shift the blame. And so here is Russell Vought. Watch this here.
The CDC. Have you visited the CDC, Mr. Vought, by chance?
I have not.
It is the flagship epidemiological and public health agency for the country and indeed for the world.
That even the Biden administration felt the need to reform.
You have now fired or tried to fire nearly a quarter of the workforce, correct?
Senator, are you suggesting the CDC performed well in the last pandemic?
I asked you whether you have fired or tried to fire a quarter of the CDC workforce.
I can't answer the question because I don't have the facts in front of me. That's
you have
the CDC
fired or tried to fire nearly a quarter of the CDC workforce, and your budget request for FY26 would cut the CDC budget in more than half, correct?
The Center for Disease Control.
No, answer the question.
They were incompetent.
Answer the question, Mr. Vought.
Pandemic.
Does your budget request seek to cut by more than half the CDC budget?
We certainly seek to cut and reduce
by more than
CDC.
half the CDC budget. Listen, Mr. Vought, you need to come to Georgia and visit the CDC. Good. We'll make that happen because you are destroying this institution. And whatever criticism you have about their past performance, they are essential to public health and epidemiological defense in the United States. You're crushing morale, you're crushing capability, and you're destroying my constituents' lives. And I am grateful for the commitment you've made to come to Georgia and visit the CDC and sit down with those employees. Thank you,
Senator,
Madam
the Biden
Chair.
administration.
I don't want to hear about the
reform.
Biden administration.
Well,
you're here on behalf of the Trump administration.
Okay.
The witness.
All right, so I'm going to play one more that I saw. And it shows you the sheer incompetence of these people. It shows you how they don't give a damn about Congress, and Republicans don't care about actually hearing from them. But their entire goal is, again, to just say, you know what? I don't give a damn what any of y'all have to say. This is Senator Jon Ossoff again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again, Mr. Secretary. So just to start with the basics here, Mr. Secretary, the total all-in request for FY26 is $441.2 billion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and how much of your medical services request is for personnel? And how many personnel through this medical services request do you intend to employ in FY26?
At the current, and I also have, I have my budget, Andrew, here as well, if there's the numbers that we need, if Mr. Chairman, with yours. The issue that you brought up is right now there are currently 465,000 employees in VA as a whole. VHA has 409,000 of those.
I'm so sorry, Mr. The question is, how many staff do you intend to employ through the medical services budget in FY26?
Do we, Andrew? 396,000? 396,000.
396,000.
Yes.
Okay. The FY25 request, and just to be clear, that's intended staffing of medical services in FY26? Say the number again.
395? 396,000. 396,000.
396,000. Okay. Yes. How many physicians do you intend to employ in FY26?
Physicians.
Physicians. We employ a large number of physicians.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Yeah. Andrew is our budget. Right now, we currently have 28,868 physicians.
Yeah, so how many physicians do you intend to employ in FY26?
We're not cutting physicians, so at this point in time under that budget, we're still looking to continue at 28,868 at minimum. because we're also having to add staff, add physicians which are not, which are exempt. So we're adding
here's
those.
what we usually.
And because
this is, for example, the budget request from 25, and it specifies that for 25 we're requested 25,099 physicians. So we usually get this in advance of this hearing. So my question is just how many doctors you intend to employ.
Yeah, and at this point in time, I'll take that and get it back to you. As I told you yesterday on the phone, there'll be some more information coming later this week.
Okay, how about dentists?
The same answer.
Do you have the number for nurses?
We currently employ 91,040. I'll have the.
But my question is how many?
And I understand, and the breakdown will be provided as I said yesterday.
Okay, well, how have you calculated the money you need for personnel without having yet decided how many personnel to employ?
In the breakdown of the budget, which right now is still going on, these are the numbers that we are using to go forward from last year's budget into this year's budget. And at this point, there is also a gap in how many we have currently hired and not hired. And so at this point, I'll have the numbers for you that we've not provided yet. We'll be providing those numbers.
But you've proposed about $17 or $18 billion cut to the medical services account, correct?
That is not. The president's budget makes adjustments to the funding that devote additional funding appropriate funding to community care. This is not a cut to total funding to VHA. In fact, the total medical care budget grew by 17% to $24 billion.
Not medical care, medical services. So here's your, just to be clear, I mean, the chairman mentioned this, we usually get,
I understand completely.
Specifies how many folks you intend to employ. We have a 26-page PowerPoint. But in that 26-page PowerPoint, here are specified about $17 billion in cuts to the medical services budget. So what are you cutting in medical services? Specifically, who are you cutting, since that's exclusively personnel?
Again, and this is the issue that we have right now, and I'll just state this for either of us to go back in circles. We'll be providing more of those numbers, as I said yesterday on our phone call this week. So at this point in time, the numbers that we're providing are the numbers that we have at this point. I'll be happy to talk to you further about those later.
And understand that's why we usually get these in advance of this hearing. I mean, I'm wondering if we need to reconvene having received the full budget request, because the thing that is causing a lot of consternation is this proposed $17, $18 billion cut to medical services. I mean, and so today is the budget hearing where you justify the budget request. So how do you justify this cut to medical services, and who are you going to fire in order to pay for it?
And I'll go back to the same answer I gave you just a few minutes ago. I mean, in this process, we'll have more information on that part of it as we go forward. The basis of the budget was based on our workforce as it existed and moving forward, and the numbers have not been cut to the medical
I'm sorry, yes, it has.
Budget.
You have in your PowerPoint here $17 to $18 billion in cuts to medical services. Again, this is a 26-page PowerPoint to justify the budget. So, and this is the budget hearing. So who's getting fired? I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if we need to reconvene after they send us the materials, but I think this is insufficient. Clearly, and I'll follow up in my next round. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yo, that's literally going to class, and the professor said, did you do the homework assignment? You know, Professor, I sent you an email and some stuff happened, and so I'm going to get that to you later. No, but did you know it was due today? These people, they have a gross disrespect for the legislative branch. Donald Trump and his minions, they believe they should do whatever they want. Congress does not matter. The courts do not matter. We do not care. And let's go on the attack. Let's slam the opponent. And I dare say the problem for Democrats, and I get it. I get murky. I understand Ossoff. I get that. I think they being way too damn nice, because I'm not going to let somebody walk into my house and disrespect me, and you think I'm not going to return fire. That, to me, is the fundamental problem I see. They are playing nice with these people, and they're letting them off the hook, and they look like idiots, and then they want to say everybody else is incompetent, and how these are the best and the brightest, and it's about merit, and we don't like DEI when these people can't even do a basic job. My pal, Dr. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service out of D.C., Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies, Howard University out of D.C., Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show, Sirius XM Radio, also creator of the card game. That's right. Am I tripping? And Reese, am I tripping? Or do these people? I mean, it's like, no, we ain't got that. Hey, do you have that? Do you have? I mean, no, I know we said cut, but we ain't really got the paperwork. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dog. And the crazy thing, Reese, Collins served 8 years in Congress. He know damn well how this works.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of humming, and look over there, don't look right here. You're there because you're supposed to be talking about the details, the specifics of the budget that's being put forth. Look, a lot of talk is about the big, beautiful bill, which is a hot mess. But the reality is that the Trump 2026 budget is horrific. It is finishing the work that Trump has done by executive action for Project 2025. It is putting into law just absolutely ridiculous cuts that are going to dismantle government services and dismantle the social safety net. And so they should come up, stand on business, and stand behind these cuts. But they're banking on the fact that they can just rely on these headlines being grabbed from whatever dumbass thing Donald Trump is saying or whatever they're trying to deflect, instead of being held accountable to what this budget is trying to do.
Nola, here's a perfect example. This is that nutcase Carrie Lake reference. And this is the kind of crap that she said in her hearing. And I'm sorry, homie was way too nice with her trifling ass.
I wish I could yield back the last 5 minutes of my life, actually. And I want to apologize to the people of Arizona that we have somebody who's representing the folks in one of our great parts of the Valley that doesn't care about the integrity of our election. So but you weren't here, you came in late, and we were talking about USAGM today, the Agency for Global Media, and how they can put out absolute abject lies, and we can't control any, we have no say over what the editorial content is, and I would hope that you would not be okay with that. They could literally put out a lie about anybody here, and I know you've been the victim of that. I know you've been the victim. I remember the stories about you where they said you had a gay lover, and those were going on.
Mr. Chairman.
Can
I hope you honor what you just gave as a caution to everyone, and I moved those words
to tell you that those kind of lies, and you said those were lies, those kind of lies could be broadcast today on VOA, and you couldn't pick up the phone, Representative Stanton, and call them and say, hey, you're putting out lies about me. You would not be able to do that because they would sue you for breaking the firewall. So lies are being told on Voice of America. It's inappropriate. You've been subjected to lies that you said were lies about you in the media before. And how would you like it if those lies were put on Voice of America?
And Nola, they let her ass keep talking.
You know what is hysterical about this? I don't know if folks out there have ever seen the British TV show called The Thick of It. It is the show that inspired Veep. This scene is exactly from that show.
Hold on, Nola. Why are you holding that microphone?
Because I'm on my phone. There were some technical issues, and
Nola, that microphone clips on. Just clip it on.
I want to hold it because I like my nails. Can I do me?
And Nola,
I want to hold it because I like the aesthetic.
Take the furry thing off. That's a windscreen. It ain't windy inside.
It's the aesthetic.
No, it's not an aesthetic. No. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and say that. I'm going to let you finish. I keep watching these damn people. Teray, I keep watching these folk do videos, and they really getting on my nerves. That is a windscreen. It is supposed to reduce the wind noise. That is not a furry accessory. So, Lord have mercy, like a big ass. Put that chia pet, clip that thing on you and just talk.
Well, can I borrow the
saying,
windscreen so I can turn my fan up?
Lord, gone. Hey, ooh, that irks me.
listen, the noise from my air conditioner and the noise from the fan, because it's a lot going on in here. Can I just finish my thought?
Man, next thing y'all know, y'all gonna have a pink windscreen, a red windscreen, a green. Girl, gone.
I'm sure that's there.
Thank you. So back to my point. If you watch the British show, The Thick of It, it was about Tony Blair's comms director who was a bully. And when I say that this is the exact scene, the exact tactic of throwing everybody off by first insulting the person, saying, oh, you were late, by throwing that person off, and then by saying that something happened to you negative in the media to deflect from what the actual situation about them is. I kid you not. If y'all, as politicos, have not watched The Thick of It, you have got to watch that show. This is an exact scene, frame by frame by frame, which makes this even more hysterical. But it's effective. They have dug in. They are standing 10 toes down on just being bullish, on being rude. They don't care. They don't care that this is how they're being seen, because they've been told this is what strength looks like. And like everyone has said, the Dems need to figure out very soon how to combat this, because you're sitting there looking crazy, still trying to be statesman-like, stateswoman-like, when people are coming for you, because to me what she said was homophobic, and it was done on purpose, because that's red meat for the base, right? That was to own the lib. They need to figure this out very quickly, because they sitting around here looking crazy and weak.
Yeah, because for Donald Trump, he wants central casting. He wants people who look a certain way, Greg, talk a certain way. And what Democrats don't seem to understand is that these congressional hearings, folk can say performative, performing for the cameras. Yeah. The reality is you should be using your 5 minutes to eviscerate your foes, to destroy them, to make them look like sheer idiots. And when they bring the shade, you hit their ass with a double and a triple dose of shade. But no, they want to sit here and let these fools ramble and go on and on and on. That's why it was Congresswoman Maxine Waters and not everybody doing reclaiming my time. You got to shut these thugs down and not give an inch, Greg.
Absolutely. You do. To the white passing Carrie Lake and all the others who are working to foment their Lord and Master, it may look like there's individual flair in each of these performances and appearances, but the architect of much of this was on the Hill earlier this week and last week, Russell Vought. It's Russell Vought's playbook. It's exactly what Richard said. When you go to the Mandate for Leadership, Project 2025, you read Vought's chapter on the concept of the executive branch and this kind of powerful, all-encompassing executive branch. Then what you saw today was the equivalent of Richard Pryor saying back in the 70s or Chris Rock in the 1990s, I don't know that S. Keeping it real. In other words, I'm from the executive branch. I ain't got to tell you S. Richard Pryor said, hey man, show me. I ain't got to show you. That's really what Collins was telling his former colleague. That's what we've seen with Carrie Lake. This is what we've seen with everybody who's testified. Contempt. So anyone expecting anything different? I mean, look at that stooge Bill Cassidy in Louisiana, who's right in bed with him. You're a medical doctor. And Robert F. Kennedy came up there and to your face and straight told a lie to you. And now you up here, I'm having to reconsider. No, you're not. It's all theater, as you said, Roland. The tragedy is we watch theater so much that we think it's real. But them phone calls had already been made. They're not going to stop her.
Yeah, it just sort of just drives me crazy when they do that. And I came across, see, this is also why I could never serve in office. Because, man, I be getting censured. They'll be like, you shouldn't be cussing. I spoke to a fellowship today, and the senior saints be like, Roland, stop cussing. I'm like, y'all, I'm trying not to cuss, but these folk just make me cuss, but I ain't gonna come close to cussing recent. But here's a perfect example. I saw this exchange, and maybe it's because she's from the Bay Area, but Congresswoman Lateefah Simon, when I say hashtag team whip that ass rolled into Capitol Hill like a hurricane, and Nola could use her windscreen for that, like a hurricane, yo, it was lit rolling.
This is a very, very difficult conversation. I'm a great granddaughter.
You had to have heart surgery again. Would you rather have a doctor who studied the hardest in school and was the most qualified to perform the surgery, or a doctor that was in that position because of their race or gender? Which one would you rather have, Mr. Langton?
I'd prefer a well-qualified physician.
Dr. Smith?
At the risk of not keeping it real, I want the best physician.
Dr. Glock?
The best physician.
And Dr. Harper?
Are only the best physicians white?
I don't care what the
That wasn't the question.
Okay. Do you guys agree with yes or no, do you agree with Dr. Martin Luther King's statement that people should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin? Mr. Langton?
Absolutely.
Dr. Smith?
Yep.
And Dr. Glock?
Absolutely.
And Dr. Harper?
Martin Luther King would absolutely be repulsed by the politicized attacks on diversity, equity, inclusion.
So you're not going to say yes or no? Yes or no? You got to say yes or no.
No. Listen, I'm telling you right now.
Well, I disagree.
That hiring and promotion are you advocating hiring and promotion based on character?
Would also be repulsed by the lack of classical values.
Stands for didn't
that
earn
DEI
it,
gets rid of.
and the answer is yes or no.
Are we hiring people based on skills and experiences, or are we hiring them based on character?
It should be quality and not race and sex.
Made it clear he doesn't want to answer the question. Why don't you go on to the
No, he was asking for clarification. I think that's fair.
This is a very, very difficult conversation. I'm a great granddaughter of someone who had a literal yoke on her neck. A literal yoke. And I will give the 4.5 minutes of my time to my people from Malvern, Arkansas, from those fields. And I want to be clear that 4 out of the 5 of you last year posted on your social media the words of Dr. King. And there are so few folks who actually have studied, who are clear on the theology of freedom of King. Very few of you have read and studied and have sat in Ebenezer Baptist Church. So I would ask you, you keep Dr. King's name out of your mouth. If you, like me and the many scholars who will be watching, studied King, you know that he and the mothers and the fathers of the civil rights movement and of the movement for emancipation not only would be struck by the conversations in this room, but would be shattered by the consequence of lies, of hatred, of abuse of this administration in the name of folks who worked to make this country more free. Children of Abraham, for real. I want to be clear for the young people that are listening today here in this audience, this conversation is not about an acronym. It's just not. It's just not. This is a conversation. It's an attack. It's an attack on what you see right here. Now, see, who's on this side of the dais? This was never the plan. It was never the plan to have people of color in positions where they would be able to speak from this place. In fact, folks had to fight tooth or nail to gain access to the front door to this Capitol. I want to be very clear about that. Today's hearing says quietly and actually out loud who the majority believe is allowed to belong in this country. They use Dr. King's name in deep vein, who has a place in the hierarchy that was never meant to be questioned. The majority is leading a coordinated effort, I want to be clear, to push us back to a segregated America based on race, based on ethnicity, based on national origin, based on sex, based on sexual orientation and gender identity and disability. Inclusion, as a disabled woman, they have been very, very clear, including folks who look different than the standardized white man in this country, folks who are disabled, folks who love differently. Those folks should not be at the center of power. That's the plan. They are motivated by a fear of a multiracial and a multicultural democracy, a fear that freedom of co-equal citizens living as their authentic selves with pride and a fear. They have a fear of accountability. We must name this conversation today for what it truly is. It is a bigotry. It is a hypocrisy. Republicans, like I said before, will quote Dr. King all day, will bring forth Lincoln, and will talk about Frederick Douglass in the same breath that they are gutting civil rights offices in our governments, in the same breath where they seek to ban AP African American Studies that tells the true story of this country. It ain't just one story, it is a complete story. But folks on this dais don't want you to learn it. The hypocrisy from the Republicans is not only shameful, it is anti-American. President Trump and others have purged more than 275,000 federal workers through mass terminations and unlawful firings, while, check this out, preparing draft hiring guidance that would screen job applicants for political loyalty to the administration rather than the Constitution. The Trump administration put 500,000 qualified federal workers with disabilities, jobs at risk. Half of those are veterans. The Trump administration has forced out transgender service members who have served their country with loyalty and love while elevating dangerously unqualified news anchors to lead our nation's Defense Department. The Trump administration rewards loyalty over expertise, obedience over justice. These attacks are central to a broader agenda. Let me just finish this one sentence that criminalizes protest, that bans books, that erases history and redefines its national identity in narrow and violent terms. A 1950s America is what the goal of this conversation is, and some of us say, hell no. I yield.
You ain't in no studio to be cute. You in church. I don't want no studio sound. I want a church sound. Something on the inside.
Hey, she took him to church, Greg. Greg, she took him to church.
Yes, took him to church.
That's how, come on, bring it down. That's how that's how you do that, Greg.
Well, God bless Lateefah Simmons, Congresswoman Simmons. I wouldn't do that because I don't give a damn about that hillbilly from Central Virginia. And if I were to see McGuire in person, I probably would pass him by to a press conference roasting him. He's beneath contempt. So God bless her for that. I tell you though, man, it presumes that they don't know. In the case of McGuire, who was a Navy SEAL and came all this stuff, he clearly has the intelligence to know better. Unlike somebody like Tommy Tuberville, who is brain damaged, apparently. But I think there's the other option. I may or may not know, but more importantly, it isn't germane to my agenda. I have the power. And so therefore, you can make the most compelling logic case that you would like. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. There's only one way to stop this, y'all. We have to be organized and we have to act politically, including in the next cycle of the ballot box. What Lateefah Simmons did, that's great to show to some young people. What we're seeing from some of the Democrats, Jimmy Raskin, people, Jasmine Crockett, we're seeing civics lessons. If you want to package that and put it on a platform and teach young people civics, fine. But them people there, as Malcolm X would say, you're speaking a language they don't understand.
But here's the deal, though. I believe that what what she's doing and what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett does. And again, and look, what we're seeing from the guy who just won the Democratic primary in New York is understanding the moment and what people are looking for right now. They are looking for fighters. They are looking for people who are not going to back down. And it may be folk who say, I don't even agree with you, but at least you showing some fight. At least you're showing something. And see, and I'm about to walk through this because I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to show y'all, and everybody's going to talk about it, but I need people watching to understand what we're talking about. How you present, how you speak, how you leverage your voice is important, because the folks sitting at home are saying, if y'all want me to get off the couch, if y'all want me to go walk door to door, if y'all want me to canvass, if y'all want me to phone bank, you got to give me something to work with. And the regular ass, boring Chuck Schumer, same old, I ain't swinging for that. That ain't moving me. That ain't fighting for me. You know, and the Dems, I think, made a huge ass mistake by not picking Jasmine Crockett as the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. Y'all rolled her this week.
It's interesting that we're being accused of wanting all kinds of criminals to be on the streets, or that we don't believe that people should show up to their meetings and appointments. Last time I checked, there's a lot of people that are actually being grabbed as they are going in for their appointments. In fact, we know that one of the candidates that was recently running in this mayoral, he ended up being arrested because he decided that he was actually going to escort people that are actually showing up to their meetings. Or we know that the Pope, yes, the Pope himself, decided that the church may need to have people that are going to escort people as they're going into their meetings, because the reality is that what they are claiming what they want to do versus what they're actually doing, the actions don't match up. And while we are supposed to be talking about visas, somehow we continue to cherry pick and talk about one criminal act and another criminal act. And it is so very interesting to me that, yes, we will say people are xenophobic, because when you start to decide that just because somebody came from another country, they are automatically some kind of criminal, that does sound kind of xenophobic to me, because you are using a paintbrush to paint an entire group of people where the vast majority of them are coming here because they are actually seeking a better life. But let me get to what this hearing is supposed to be about. The idea that Trump and my Republican colleagues want to restore integrity and security in the visa process is actually a joke. Let me be clear. Integrity is not snatching lawful visa holders off the streets and throwing them into unmarked vans. Integrity is not revoking visas based on social media posts that hurt somebody's little feelings because kids decide that they want to go after Trump or this administration. We have a thing called free speech in this country. And since we're talking about integrity, I'm confused as to why my Republican colleagues aren't talking about the lack of integrity when it comes to the president's family's visas. Let me remind y'all that Melania, the first lady, a model, and when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And what that stands for is an Einstein visa. Now, y'all that don't know, let me tell you how you receive an Einstein visa. You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist, or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathin' here. Nevertheless, what Republicans are doing with this reconciliation process, the travel bans and revoking visas jeopardizes our national security. It threatens our communities, our higher education, and our economy. Visas like the largely vetted J visas for higher education and M visas for trade, training, attract the next innovators, medical providers, researchers, and educators that we need to build on American success. I'm not gonna mess up your name, so I'm not doing that. But I'm with you, okay? In your experience, do individuals on J or M visas typically improve or impair our economy?
They generally improve the economy, and I can give a brief example. My wife is a very successful woman. She makes a ton of money, which I'm grateful for. And the reason why we're able to do that while having 3 children is because of the au pair visa, somebody who is here on a J, who is here and able to supply this for us. But I also want to defend Melania real quick. Not everybody could marry Donald Trump, and I think that's quite an achievement. So I think she deserves credit for that. Nobody up here could have done it.
You sure right, I couldn't do it. But anyway, in fact, J visa holders contribute $43.8 billion to the U.S. economy and support more than 300,000 jobs. And make no mistake, immigrants improve the health of U.S. citizens too, despite the fact we already have a doctor shortage. Trump's reckless travel ban and visa overhaul are exacerbating this crisis by impairing hundreds of hospitals with foreign-trained doctors set to do their residencies here in the United States, meaning fewer people will get the help they need and more people will die. Now, let me remind you that Republicans are trying to gut Medicaid. Roughly 4.5 million people receive caregiver services through Medicaid, and most of these folks are in red states. And wouldn't you know that in 2023, Kaiser Family Foundation estimated that almost 30% of long-term care providers or home caretakers were immigrants. It's like Republicans want Americans to suffer. Now, Republicans say visas make us less secure, but let's talk about how visas given to victims of crimes like rape, murder, human trafficking, torture, abduction, kidnapping, to help law enforcement with their investigation or prosecutions of these crimes. These folks are risking their own security for broader safety of Americans and our communities. Thank you so much.
So to Greg's point, you had lots of policy in that. Take a shot at Melania. It gets clipped and picked up. People learn from that. Now, if y'all want to see boring ass, traditional, typical, ain't never gonna get retweeted, reposted on Instagram, TikTok, nothing, this bullshit.
We are here with an urgent message. Republicans right now are attempting to jam through a bill that would present the largest loss of health care and food assistance in American history. And why? All to pay for tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. Now, just a few weeks ago, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office confirmed that if their bill becomes law, it will be 16.
Come on, I can't even play the whole 90 seconds of that boring ass video. Looked like he got 2 hostages standing right next to him. Why did Mom Donnie win in New York? Y'all want to know now why he won? Watch this.
New York is suffering from a crisis, and it's called halalflation. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of this. How much does a plate of halal cost right now from this truck?
$10.
$10. Chicken over rice, lamb over rice, $10.
$10?
Yeah.
When you're a street vendor, you have to pay for the food, the plates. How much do you have to pay for your permit?
Before it was 22K.
17,000.
How much does a license cost if you get it from the city?
I think 400.
And who are you paying?
The permit owner.
You're not paying the city?
No.
You pay the permit owner $22,000 just so you can sell this food?
Yes.
And who is this?
A random guy.
Have you ever applied for a permit?
Yeah, I'm applied and no come anything.
It's long wait. Number 3,800 something. And
After 2 years, you're number 3,800.
Yes.
These are the 4 bills that are sitting in the city council right now, which would give these vendors their own permits and make your halal more affordable. But Eric Adams hasn't said a single word about them. If you own the permit, then how much would you charge for the plate?
$7.
$8.
$8.
Would you rather pay $10 for a plate of halal or $8?
$8.
$8.
I think $8 is the way to go.
If I was the mayor, I'd be working with city council from day 1 to make halal $8 again.
No, how would it taste?
Tastes like $10, but it should be 8.
I see the look on your face, Reese. That's what we're talking about. You have to message. You have to walk people through, explain to them in a way that they understand. And it's not standing at a podium saying, grocery prices have gone up. The middle class is hurting because of Trump. My colleagues will come up next to further explain how the Republican bill is going to hurt all Americans. Ain't nobody watching that boring ass stuff.
That's true. Look, he had me sold. I was like, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. $8 is definitely better than $10.
But he took a 90-second video, showed you the food, showed you real people, talked about permits, talked about who they paying, what the price was, showed the bills, and you like, damn, all that's going on?
Yeah. No, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. It was personal. It was policy. It was connecting the dots. It was showing the implication of government for people who are so disaffected and disillusioned and just think it doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter what government does. It showed a very tangible, relatable reason why it does matter. So that explains, like you said, a lot of what his appeal is, because he is connecting the dots for people who just don't think that it matters. I do want to go back, though, to Congresswoman Lateefah Simon, because she really is sensational. She's not just great in terms of being able to dismantle that racism and that ridiculous hearing, but I want to shout out legislation she put forward because, you know, she is legally blind. And she put forward a legislation to provide mobile vision services for students. That's the kind of legislation that doesn't often get touted, but I think she deserves so much. And then obviously we all know that Congresswoman Crockett, she broke it down and made it plain. The reality is that we need to reach people who don't get that government can work. They don't get what's not working about government and why. And they don't get why the people that they send to government can actually help it make work better for them. And so the more that you have Democrats out there who actually know how to talk to regular people, and we're not talking about just the white man diner, working class diner that Bernie Sanders has been trying to get for the past however many years and still lost 2 presidential primaries and got fewer votes in Vermont than Kamala Harris, but he trying to bring her up on a negative. We're talking about regular schmegular ass people, the people that make the difference between Democrats winning and Democrats losing. That's what we need to be focused on, reaching those folks.
And look, listen, this week, Nola, the Democrats chose Congressman Robert Garcia to be the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. Frankly, leadership did not want Crockett. They took a vote there that told the members how to vote. She then drops out. They let Garcia. Now, Robert Garcia, from all I understand, is a great guy. I ain't never heard of him. In fact,
he is great.
In fact, yeah, but here's the deal though. I ain't never ever used a clip of Robert Garcia. I can't even remember coming across in terms of these hearings. Now, Latifah, Summer Lee, Crockett, Frost, my man, I can't remember him, the guy from Texas, the new guy from Texas. I've seen that. I'm like,
great.
Okay. Oh, I'm like, all right, who you? And again, I'm flipping through right now. I'm going through his Twitter feed. You know what I see? Come on, switch, y'all. I see MSNBC clip. 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 And I'm just simply saying, say, dog, if you want to sit here and reach some folk, then you gonna have to sit here and talk to some non-sources. And I don't know what they doing, why they, in terms of why they chose them. And I've seen a lot of these stories, Nola, well, you know, I'm not quite sure what went down. They don't like Crockett, this, that, and the other. But guess what? She raising more money than them. In demand, is communicating in a way where a new generation is appealing to them. And so where I come from, I'm gonna get the ball to the person, to my shooter who's hooping. Like if I'm playing ball, I mean, you might be a good rebounder, but if she's scoring, yo, I'm passing you the rock. I'm putting you in position to score. And I don't know what's wrong with the Democrats. They sort of want this nicety, and I don't want you to be too loud, and I don't want you to be too aggressive. I'm not understanding what their strategy is. Maybe you got some better insight, because I don't know.
Well, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say, because Robert's a friend.
That's fine. He could be a friend. He could be a friend, but I ain't never heard of his ass. But go ahead. I just said, listen, we can start singing a whinings of friend, but I'm just simply saying I ain't never heard of his ass. But go ahead.
Well, first of all, Robert ain't that nice. He's not that sweet, and he is a fierce defender for the LGBTQIA community, he's gone viral multiple times for clapping back. Before actually Representative Crockett actually got to Congress, he was actually the one keeping foot on neck with Marjorie Taylor Greene. But honestly, my how I feel about it, if it wasn't her, I'm glad that it is him. He's a very skilled lawyer. He's a very skilled communicator. And like I said, he is a fierce defender for his LGBTQIA community. And he was a very effective mayor in Long Beach. And so, you know, when I attended Reese and Clay's town hall, when Representative Crockett kind of made the statement about she wasn't the favorite, my worry was, okay, who's going to be the favorite? And when it was Robert, I was okay with that, because he's not nice, he's not sweet, and he will keep that energy and take it to you.
I'm gonna need to see it then, because thus far I ain't seen it. And I spend a whole lot of time pulling clips and watching stuff, and I'm just saying, that's just me. Reese, real quick before I got to go to Congresswoman Alma Adams.
Well, look, he's in the crosshairs of the DOJ because he made a joke of Elon Musk's dick pics in the hearing, and so they want to prosecute him for that. So he's definitely under the skin of the people of the administration. He definitely got that fire. I'm team Jasmine Crockett, but I'm also team Robert Garcia. He ain't no slouch. Keep an eye on him.
That's fine. He might not be a slouch, but I need to see him on fire. I'm just simply saying I don't see.
And you will.
Okay, all right.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna send you a clip.
No. I need to see more than a clip. I need to see a body of work.
I'll send you a body of work.
I need to see a body of work, because all I'm saying is, if you Democrats across the country, who you asking to come speak at your Democratic fundraising dinner? Are you asking Garcia, or are you asking Crockett? I'm just simply saying, I'm gonna put my hot folks in position, and I'm not gonna have them on the sideline, on the bench. I'm putting them on the court. That's all I'm saying. All right, y'all.
But she did drop out the race.
No. Hold up. No, she didn't drop out the race. Leadership took a vote, and they signaled to all the members how we want you to vote. And then once she saw that, then it was, let me drop out. That's all. That wasn't no normal dropout. No, Richie, that ain't how it went. That ain't how it went.
Roland, I think the strategy, and I'm saying the Democratic Party isn't in shambles. It is what it always is. It's the place we can use to advance our interests. It's a soft white nationalist party. So there's several things going on here. We all know, of course, it's reported that they wanted Stephen Lynch, the 70-year-old. So what they did yesterday was break seniority. Put a pin in that, but when they're in the majority and Crockett can run again as the chair, the ranking member ain't got a whole lot of power. They got their bomb throwers on both sides over there. Let them talk. We talk about the clips. We don't care who the chair is, especially when they're in the minority. I think there is a strategy at play here, but it's because people like Mamdani, whose father is a famous Africanist, he was born in Uganda. The people like that are forcing the Democrats to have to choose. This is what Bernie Sanders is saying. Either you're going to get down with these young people and these progressives, or y'all ain't going to have no party because we're going to take your party. Yep. They're using the Democratic Party as a host, and that's the way you have to use these parties.
Well, I'm gonna need them to be a little bit more fired up. All right, Iran, all this drama, bombing nuclear sites. You got Trump and Hegseth talking about, oh, we obliterated, but we can't really back it up. It's all kind of nonsense. But the question is, Where do we move forward? Where do we go? There was a security hearing. Members came out of that saying, we ain't seen the evidence they keep talking about. There were a number of senators who said that. Congresswoman Alma Adams of North Carolina joins us right now. And Congresswoman, glad to have you. First of all, let's get her signal. Glad to have you on the show. You know, the thing here, a lot of folk are literally worried about what's next. You've got Trump and Hegseth painting this picture of how amazing and beautiful and unbelievable and fantastical all this stuff was. But we also know both of them prone to lie and just make stuff up. So the question is, what do we make of this? Congresswoman, what do we make of what's going on? And can we really trust these two liars to tell us the truth?
Well, thank you, Roland. It's good to see you. And yes, you always have a very spirited show. I was enjoying the conversation. As a matter of fact, we have not heard the results of anything. We haven't had a briefing. The briefing that was scheduled was postponed. Well, first it was canceled, and now it's back on for tomorrow. But we're also told that we're going to tell you some of it, but we're not going to tell you all of it. So it's really, in terms of the trust here, I'm not sure that what we'll get will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Blaming Democrats for leaking information, but the same White House was proud to say they didn't inform Democrats about what was going down. Now, you can't have it both ways. How you gonna accuse somebody of leaking, but then you were proud to say we never told them?
That's right. We Democrats were not informed. So if there was a leak, it didn't come from Democrats. It came from the administration, more than likely, or it came from the Republicans that they shared information with. Now, this president has said in his inauguration, I'm going to be a president for all the people. But he seems to focus primarily on the Republicans. And even when you look across this country, in every district, you've got Democrats and Republicans and some people who claim no party affiliation. So I just think, they're going to have to step it up. There'll be a lot of questions, I'm sure, tomorrow. We'll see if there are going to be any answers.
Obviously, a lot of folks are concerned here, and here really is the question that people want answered. Does the United States do whatever Israel wants us to do, or are we actually operating in our best interest? I mean, that's a question that I hear from lots of folk about what's going on here. We got having an issue with the Congresswoman's signal, so hopefully it comes back. But that's something that people keep talking about. That is, what decisions are we making? Are we making decisions in the best interest of the United States, or is it whatever Israel wants to do, then we just do?
Well, certainly Israel has been not only a partner, but an ally. And I've supported Israel, and I still do. But I do think in this particular case, we haven't heard from the president in terms of what the goal was. And I think always we have to, as the president, he does need to operate with the best interests of the U.S. in mind. But having said that, I still think in terms of our allies, we have to be supportive. But in this case, we still don't know what happened truly and to what extent they were successful. We've heard that different comments from different people about, well, yeah, it was successful. Use another term, the intelligence, another term. People on the street will use another term. So we'll have to challenge this administration, and I think they're going to see that on tomorrow.
All right, then. Well, look, we'll see what happens next. Again, there's nothing I trust from lying Donald Trump and lying Pete Hegseth. Nothing. Just absolutely nothing.
Well, if you think about it, Roland, everything the president says whoever's in his administration, they repeat what he says. So it's almost like hearing him over and over and over again, because if you don't say what he thinks you should say and in support of him, you're fired. You know, he's used to saying that in the show he had, you're fired. So I think a lot of folks are going to be moving along if they don't completely agree with what he has to say.
Well, it absolutely is a cult. That's what it is. And so keep fighting the good fight. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Roland. You keep it up.
Will do. Thanks a bunch, folks. Got to go to break. We come back more on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join the Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to give via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com or RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can send a check or money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Send it to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV, and praise the Lord, Nola got rid of her furry microphone. Way to go. We'll be right back.
We don't stand up for Medicaid now. In spite of my honorable military service, the Senate will kill my child.
I want the people that are trying to take this away from us to put yourself in our seats.
Congress people, you got free health care paid for by the people, and then you don't want the people to have the same thing you have. That is sick, and we must challenge it.
This bill will deny millions of people the health care that they need. This is policy violence.
And we won't be silent anymore.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie of A Balanced Life. Think about the men in your life and ask yourself these questions. Who are their male role models? Who can they turn to for advice to learn about what manhood is all about? On our next show, we talk about why male mentoring is so important to men of all ages. Actor Dondre Whitfield leads an all-star cast and panel to answer these and many other probing questions.
A woman can't teach you how to be something that she's not.
That's on the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and you're watching my brother Roland Martin Unfiltered as we go a little something like this. Hit it. It's real.
All right, folks, more questions with regards to the 2024 election and whether or not it was legitimate. Various analyses have been done, and people have been saying, wait a minute, hold up. How in the world could Donald Trump win all of the battleground states? Pew came out with their breakdown of the election today, and they literally said that even if there was a dramatic increase of folks who voted in this election, Donald Trump would have still won. That's perplexing because folks talk about how, well, Republicans even say if there's an increase in people voting, it favors the Democrats. Well, a leading expert in election forensics, Dr. Walter Mabane Jr. of the University of Michigan has found what he says is statistical evidence suggesting potential vote manipulation in the 2024 presidential election. His report analyzed 7 million votes across all 67 Pennsylvania counties and found that between 25,000 and 225,440 votes in the presidential race could have been fraudulent. His results support the findings released by the nonpartisan Election Truth Alliance. Nathan Taylor, the executive director of the Election Truth Alliance, joins us right now. Nathan, glad to have you here. So walk us through this. And there's somebody who's watching who's saying, all right, this is some, Donald Trump was saying it was rigged in 2016, rigged in 2020. Now this is just the left saying it was rigged against them in 2024.
Thanks so much for having me again. A lot of fun times we've had in the past. It's felt like just yesterday, but it's been months now. So A little bit about my background. As you said, I am one of the executive directors of the Election Truth Alliance, a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that is, we kind of put it together to investigate the 24 election, past elections and future elections. And I think what's important here is, as you said, is there's been a lot of talk about this recently, but I do want to highlight what we're specifically talking about and the findings of Dr. Walter Mebane. This is not voter fraud. This is election fraud. And the difference is voter fraud is from people who may cast their votes. Election fraud is specifically a concern of a system or a systemic issue that's changing how people vote against their will. And I think that's what's important is the work that I've been doing in the ETA and all of our volunteers. It's focused on, are there concerns of our systems and are they free and fair? And, what can we do to dive deeper? So to kind of highlight that, for North Carolina, we did prepare a nice PowerPoint and some data points for you. I don't know if you have that available or not, but let's talk a little bit about Dr. Walter Mebane, his findings and his background. If you're familiar, if you're not familiar, he's honestly like one of the leading election fraud experts in the United States and in the world, honestly. He was a part of a team that USAID actually provided a grant, and he made a election fraud toolkit that has been applied for multiple elections. He has wrote papers for previous elections, I think 2019, and he actually looked at the 2020 presidential election as well and found no significant concerns of election fraud benefiting the winning candidate then. So what is really interesting is not only has he brought up his own concerns for Pennsylvania, which we have published our findings on our website as well, but we have also worked with him for North Carolina, and he's provided us his analysis of North Carolina, the entire state. So let's see if we can get any visuals up. If not, we'll do this the old-fashioned way. Let's see.
So here's what I have up. You have here why analyze North Carolina, and you say lay out here, for example, when comparing presidential to superintendent race, Kamala Harris received 122,231 fewer votes than Maurice Green, while Trump received 191,470 more votes than Michelle Morrow. Now, for folks to understand, this is what happened in North Carolina. Democrats won the governor's mansion, lieutenant governor, attorney general, secretary of state, superintendent, and the Supreme Court race, but Harris lost the White House. And people are like, how in the hell did that happen? So now go right ahead.
Yep. And so what this is highlighting is this is kind of that overview. If you're familiar, a lot of people, such as Smart Elections, they talk about drop-off votes. I like to call them down ballot differences. And that's what you're highlighting is all across the swing states for the 2024 presidential election, the Democrats won up and down the ticket, but then Harris lost at the presidential level. And so what's really interesting is we initially started digging into that before we got into the more advanced statistics, such as what Dr. Walter Mebane does. And we're just highlighting here that all across every county in North Carolina, just to begin, we're seeing that Harris is always underperforming the Democrats on the same tickets. So we're talking, in this case, we're looking at the superintendent race, and we're seeing that she is getting up to 122,000 less votes across all of these counties. But Trump, on the other hand, he's always overperforming his party candidates.
So you have right here, first, down ballot analysis, 2016, North Carolina presidential versus superintendent. And so what you're showing here, and I'm just going to zoom in here, the blue.
Yeah, this is 2016.
Right, so the blue is dim.
The
blue is dim, the red is Republican. And so what you're showing is, so we see these blue lines below zero. So explain what that is.
Yep, so what we're looking at here is the zero line is the amount of votes the superintendent got for both parties. And then if you are above the line, as you said, the blue is Democrats. In this case, it was, I believe, Hillary Clinton in 2016. So if you're above the 0 line, you got more votes than the superintendent of your party.
So that was 2000. That was 2016.
Yes.
But then we go down to 2020.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting, as you'll see in comparison, is 2016, both candidates on average were overperforming. They were both sitting pretty solidly across and it was very, very back and forth, right? Some of them had more votes in some areas, some were sitting a little lower. We don't see a lot of negative votes here. We don't see a lot of negative drop off. And that's what's important is we think if this is what a more normal election looks like across a state, every county, now let's look at 2024. And here,
that is
where we're
highlighting. That is a stark difference in, wait a minute, come on, switch to Nola. Nola's over here going, oh my God. Oh my.
Yeah, this is just the beginning because in this case, this is North Carolina. We're seeing this trend across a majority of the swing states. We're talking the more interesting ones as well. Pennsylvania for their election day voting looks very similar. And so what's important here? As we said, the zero line here on the left axis, 0 is the amount of votes the superintendent got. And if you're above the line, you got more votes. If you're below the line, you got less votes. In each of these lines, there's a red and a blue line per county. And so what's important here is we are seeing across every county in North Carolina.
Oh, not one county.
Not one county. I think there's technically one where it's such a small underperformance that it shows almost nothing. But
I can't even see
every county.
Yeah.
Harris is underperforming the superintendent
in the entire state.
In the entire state.
But if I go back to 16, this is 16. And you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Matter of fact, it's easier to count the superintendent race. So out of all the counties in North Carolina in 16, so the blue below 0 superintendent, right?
The blue below 0 is the presidential, Hillary Clinton.
Is the presidential. So only in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 28 counties in 2016, Hillary Clinton was below the superintendent. Correct?
And what's more important
is that correct?
Yeah.
Just 28. Just 28. 24, every
What's important,
county.
though, as you said, is when you look at 2016, you see that both candidates overperformed.
Right.
You see in some places the Democrats overperformed significantly, and they were exceeding the amount of overperformance the Republicans had.
But in 24, there is 0 overperformance.
Yes, and that's what's important is this does not match what you would expect to see as normal human voting behavior.
Wow.
This is too consistent across every county. There's no variation. This raises alarms of potential systemic manipulation.
And when
you would go
ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and so as you said, systemic, when we talk about systemic is people go and they vote and per county, it's going to be a little bit more random. Systemic manipulation is going to have an impact across multiple counties, multiple precincts, which normal human voting behavior can't do. You can't coordinate at that level. So what would cause this? Right? That's the question is what would cause, in this case, Harris to underperform so consistently across every county in North Carolina? Do you have any thoughts? There's some common.
It's first, to your point, and this is the thing that people, this is impossible. Listen, there are a number of counties, especially in the Black Belt in North Carolina, where there are a significant, remember, Obama wins North Carolina by 14,100 votes in 2008. There are a lot of counties there where there are a lot of black people. This is saying, nah, nobody liked her. She underperformed across the entire state. Everywhere?
Yeah, and what the concern here is, sure, you could have a candidate that's unpopular, but this is too consistent. This is far too consistent, and we have more. If we go back up to the quantifying potential impacts, let's talk a little bit about Dr. Walter Mebane and his findings. And we have hard numbers for you. We have estimated if this is caused by a systemic issue, let's say, for example, you're deleting votes. And so we've raised concerns. The ETA has raised concerns about the tabulation machines used across the U.S. There are vote counting machines, and then there are voting machines. They're not the same thing. And that's what's confusing for a lot of people.
Is this what you want up? The quantifying potential impact?
Yeah, this is great.
Got it.
And so we are concerned, and we are diving deeper into the machines that count the votes. And to quote a individual on his pre-inauguration night, he thanked a certain very involved individual that knows a lot about vote counting computers, and they won Pennsylvania like in a landslide. So what we're going to highlight here is, as you mentioned, Dr. Walter Mebane. He's a professor at the University of Michigan. He runs the Department of Political Science and Statistics. He is, in our, we've looked, he is the leading expert in election forensics in the U.S. There's not a lot of people who have more experience than him that have done more. He's wrote multiple papers. He is cited by newspapers, and he's kind of held up as a credible source of election fraud analysis. And so he has his own model that he has made. It's called eForensics. And he has been developing this and using this, and he has applied it to Pennsylvania and has applied it to North Carolina. And he's provided us with those reports. He's put the Pennsylvania analysis up on his website. But in this case, we've not released North Carolina yet. No one has seen this yet. So we're going to talk about it. So what he did is he analyzed the statewide data for North Carolina. We did the same. We use a different analysis method. It's not as advanced. It's called linear regression analysis. We just look at the trend. What is human voting behavior? And then are there patterns that are not normal for a human to display across every precinct? And that's kind of what we do. We do it at a county level. We add it all up. So his analysis for North Carolina, a working paper that he shared with us, it estimates, based on his model, up to 207,000 possibly fraudulent votes. There is a caveat. That is the higher level. He has a stronger confidence, or a high confidence, of 102,000 or so votes. And so he does categorize his votes by how likely they are from, malicious activity to voting patterns, etc. But what's important here, the margin of victory for Trump in North Carolina at the presidential level, it's 184,000 votes. So if that higher estimate is caused by potential vote manipulation, deletion, addition, whatever could be caused at the tabulation level, that would be enough to change the outcome of the presidential race in North Carolina. Any questions there?
So what jumps out at me is, does anybody give a damn? Are Democrats saying anything? Are independents saying anything? Or are folks just going, we don't want to sound like conspiracy theories. We don't want to sound like them. So we're just not going to address this at all. Because what you're laying out is saying that if that happened in 2024, whatever that system, it could happen again in 2028 and 2032 and beyond.
That is the concern we've raised time and time again, is if this is caused by the tabulation machines being messed with, it's not been resolved. It's not been investigated. And that's really what we're doing, is we're highlighting it. I have spoken to multiple different states, organizations. We've reached out to multiple political parties. And it's not that they aren't interested. It's not that they aren't willing to listen. The problem is, they're not willing to talk about it. They're not willing to help us investigate. They're not willing to help us get recounts or audits to make sure, does the vote that the voter cast match what we're getting told is the results? And that's what's frustrating, is I feel like such a taboo because of the last 2 and 4 years that, as we said, this isn't election denial. This isn't us saying, hey, the elections are stolen, let's go storm the Capitol. This is us saying, hey, our process is potentially flawed. Let's investigate it. Let's make it better. And then we go from there. And it's not that hard to do. The reason why we're doing this and we're putting out these reports and we're highlighting these concerns is we're saying, hey, we've told you where to go look. Work with us. Let's go look. Let's go open up the ballot boxes. Let's go hand count the ballots. And if there's a problem, we'll find it and we can go from there. If there's not a problem, our elections are free and fair. It hurts no one. We've raised donations to not only pay for those recounts and the time, but also to potentially fund lawsuits if we can't get people to come to the table, such as what we're trying to do in Pennsylvania. Is we've reached out to the Secretary of State there multiple times, presented him with our findings. Dr. Mebane has a report as well for Pennsylvania. And I can pull that up here in a moment in terms of the numbers, but we're saying, hey, if there was manipulation, it was potentially so much to change the presidential race in Pennsylvania as well. And we're getting silence so far.
Well, and keep in mind, Republicans in North Carolina, what they did was they removed the authority over the state elections board from the governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, secretary of state, and gave it to the state auditor, because that's the only statewide position they won. Questions from our panel. Nola, your eyes have been like wide open for the past 10, 15 minutes, so you go first.
Yeah, wow, so many questions. I'm a political scientist, so my mouth is agape. And my question was actually going to be, did you run any regressions? And you've already answered that question. So I guess, for me, this seems very different from leaning into Russia, had something to do with the election. For me, I am looking at hardcore data. There's no variation. There's enough information here to definitely ask questions. So is the next step in what you all are trying to do is exactly what you're doing tonight, to take this case to the media, to take this case to the public, to then maybe put pressure on some of these states so some kind of investigation can occur? Is that part of this strategy that you're deploying right now?
Yep, we have at this point, we're kind of doing two things at the same time. Is one, we're putting out these reports, we're talking about it publicly, trying to make people aware of the concerns. And then the other half is we are trying to work with the counties and the states to get those audits done. I will say we've had some places that aren't in where we've made public kind of willing to work with us. But what's important is the chain of custody is really important, because the physical votes is what we're after, and we want to make sure those are maintained well so that if there is a recount and an audit of them, we're confident that those are what people originally cast. And that's what we keep pushing for, is just trying to raise awareness. As I said, we have the data. We're going to keep putting out the data. And we're more than happy for people to peer review this. We have a dashboard up on our website where you can actually go and download the data for Pennsylvania. And when we put out our North Carolina report, hopefully next week or so, you can go and download the data and you can do these analysis yourself. You can do a regression analysis yourself, as you said, and spot check it.
Reese.
Thank you for presenting this data. I'm a data girl, so I do appreciate it. I'm curious. It sounds to me like you do think that the ballots, the physical ballots, would say something different. So is it your hypothesis or the range of hypotheses that this is a hardware issue in terms of the vote tabulation, or could this be multiple pronged, or could it be the reporting aspect from even if votes are tabulated correctly, when that is reported, those results are transmitted, that is where this manipulation is happening? What are your thoughts on it?
So I will first say that we don't fully know in terms of all the options. There are multiple ways that this could have happened. The leading theory we have that we've tested time and time again and has seemed to hold up so far, as we said, is we're concerned that the tabulation machines themselves, depending on brands, there's only two major brands. There's technically a handful of major voting machine brands and polling system brands, but the top two span 70% of the U.S. And I will say that the places we found manipulation do happen to use those major brands. And the concern, as you said, is we are worried that if there is a compromise of the tabulation system, malicious activity, a third party, we don't truly know. It looks the same on paper. All our analysis says is, hey, there are these anomalies, and they are occurring in such a way that this matches election, potential election fraud seen in Russian elections, seen in recently Poland elections. And Poland just recently had some findings where they found there were not only concerns of election fraud, but they went and they did recounts. And they found, I think, over 10 or 12 polling stations so far where it swapped the outcome of those locations.
You said 70% of voting equipment compromised nationally. Go back to the graphic. And then you said the voting technology brand one prevalence was used in 93 of the 100 counties in North Carolina.
So, as you said, there are two major brands, but there's a third and a fourth that we do see pop up. What is important here is there have been concerns of the compromise of these systems. For example, Free Speech for People had multiple cybersecurity and computer tech experts write a co-author a paper and talk about compromising concerns back in 22 and earlier. We've dug into this as well. We are seeing concerns going back to 2016 for example, in Florida, there were two different counties that reported malware on some of their voting system, some of their systems they have. And I will highlight this, and this is what is important, is the common argument we hear is, well, our voting systems aren't connected to the internet. My background is in cybersecurity. I was a 25 Bravo computer tech specialist in the Army Reserves, and then became a signal officer in the Army Guard after I got my degree. I've looked into how we're running our systems. I have concerns because the largest tabulation system and poll book system we use does potentially have modems in them, cellular modems. So I think it's inaccurate to say that they're not connected to the internet and you couldn't do something. There are so many opportunities to mess with systems. The only way to make sure that they're not being messed with is making sure we do appropriate audits. Those audits are double checked by third parties, and then physically looking at the votes as well and doing some hand counts where there are anomalies. And that's what we're doing, right? Is we're highlighting, here are the anomalies. Let's go look.
Greg.
Thank you, Roland, and thank you for this report. I'm starting to glance through Professor Yvonne's Pennsylvania numbers, and they are quite stunning. Thinking about Donald Trump back in March, I guess, when he was talking about Elon Musk knowing these computers, these computers, these voting computers. And look, we ended up winning Pennsylvania landslide. And I love how, Trump doesn't retain a whole lot in his mind. So when he repeats a phrase like vote counting computers, he's moved from voting machines to something quite different maybe. And so maybe you previewed for us where you all are headed. I'm wondering if it's too early to talk lawsuits. I don't know necessarily who would prove standing. Are you hoping maybe through these audits and to get down maybe to, I don't want to say a smoking gun, but a chain that would allow a voter, I'm sure they'd throw it out and say, well, you can't prove your vote was manipulated, or I think the phrase that he uses is subject to malevolent manipulation. I'm like, damn, this is strong language for an academic. But could you imagine a lawsuit at some point? And if so, what might it look like?
It's an excellent question. I can, and we've kind of planned out some of those concerns as we push forward. Lawsuits are honestly kind of the last resort, right? We want to work with the counties so that they are willing to do these investigations. The states are willing to do these investigations because lawsuits are slow, and they give a lot of time that we really don't have, right? We're already 6-7 months into this term, and the midterms are just around the corner. And if these machines aren't being looked into and there are problems, then the midterms are potentially up next. So what would a lawsuit look like? At this point, as you said, it comes down to standing. What can we prove? And is statistical analysis enough evidence to really open those ballot boxes? We found that no one knows. This has not really been done at this level before. The closest examples we have are 2 and 4 years ago, and those didn't go very well. I think 60 plus lawsuits, and none of them really got good results. But in that case, so for us, I think what we'll do first, and as we've been doing, is we're pushing for some targeted recounts in places where we are finding anomalies. If those audits and those recounts show the concerns that we are seeing, then that actually, think of it as a domino effect, right? If we prove this happened anywhere that our analysis brings up anomalies, then theoretically anywhere that our analysis shows anomalies could have been manipulated as well. And I hope that'll open the doors. For example, we recently did an analysis for Minnesota. I had someone personally send that analysis off to individuals in Minnesota. And so hopefully they are willing to come to the table as well. And I do have some numbers. I think we were looking at potentially up to 88,000 anomalous votes in Minnesota, even though Minnesota was won very handily by the Democrats. So I think what's important is if this happens, if there's a compromise of the tabulation machines, it didn't just happen in places that it needed to change the outcome. It potentially happened anywhere that these systems are being used, and that makes it easier on us to go and work with places that may be more willing to sit down and ask these questions and, you know, do the work to verify.
Thank you.
To that point about Minnesota, remember, a lot during the election, you kept hearing, wait a minute, is Minnesota in play? Is Minnesota in play? You heard all of that, and folks talking about how Minnesota has changed. And so I think to your point, if you take a blue state and you're able to examine this and show what happened, then you can say, hey, let's look elsewhere. It is absolutely fascinating. Hopefully these county elections, state election folks will listen and just want to get to the heart of the matter, because look, Republicans keep talking about the integrity of the ballot box. Well, let's see if they actually mean it. Nathan Taylor, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Folks, you see right here, electiontruthalliance.org. You see right here their QR code, scan to donate. Let me blow that up. And so if you want to support their work, that is their QR code right there. Go into a quick break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
If we don't stand up for Medicaid now, in spite of my honorable military service, the Senate will kill my child.
I want the people that are trying to take this away from us to put yourself in our seats.
Congress people, you got free health care paid for by the people, and then you don't want the people to have the same thing you have. That is sick, and we must challenge it.
This bill will deny millions of people the health care that they need. This is policy violence.
And we won't be silent anymore.
This week on the other side of change.
Mass incarceration, Trump administration is doubling down on criminalization, and how it is profitable.
And there's something really, really perverse about saying that we need to put people in cages in order for other people to have jobs. Like, that is not how our economy should be built.
Only on the other side of change on the Black Star Network.
This is Reggie Rock Byfield. You're watching
Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
New Jersey Congresswoman pleads not guilty to assault charges. LaMonica Macyver faced a federal judge on Wednesday to answer charges made by the Department of Homeland Security agents while visiting the Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark that took place on May 9th. The complaint filed by Homeland Security says that she intervened and interfered in the official duties of these agents. Now, this, of course, was the same location where Mayor Ras Baraka of Newark was arrested as well. And of course, Ice Barbie Christy Nome said they were going to go after all of the individuals there, including also Alina Baba, Trump's awful choice for U.S. attorney. Again, they said she attempted to thwart the arrest of Newark Mayor Baraka as she slammed her forearm into the body of one agent and forcibly struck another. After her court appearance, she addressed her supporters.
I
just left out of court and pleaded not guilty because I'm not guilty. And, you know, we will fight this. At the end of the day, this is all about political intimidation. The Trump administration and his, you know, him and his colleagues or cronies, whatever you want to call them, have weaponized the federal government. They've weaponized the Department of Justice. And anybody who stands up to them, anyone who criticizes them, anyone who fights back against them, find themselves in these hairs that we're in today, in this moment of time that I'm dealing with right now. And that does not stop me from doing my job. At the end of the day, we went to Delaney Hall for an oversight visit. The members of Congress have the right to hold these agencies accountable. And that is what we went to Delaney Hall for. We did not go there to protest. We did not go there for any of that. We went there to make sure that this facility was up to par and the detainees there were getting due process. And this is what occurred out of all of that. We've seen different cases of this administration bullying and intimidating elected leaders, from judges to anyone that gets in their way. This is what they do. And we will not stand for it. I will not stand for it. They will not intimidate me. They will not stop me from doing my job. I will continue to do what the people of the 10th Congressional District elected me to do. I'm going to continue to stand up for New Jersey because we're better than this. And New Jersey says no to Trump's hateful policies. And we'll continue to do that. We will not do that to each and every one of you who are here, who continue to express your First Amendment right, who continue to stand up to this administration. Do not back down. Do not back down. This is what they want us to do, and we will not do that. So we look forward to the next time in court. We're going to take this all the way through. They know they're wrong, and we're going to prove them wrong because the facts are on our side. No matter what headline they tweet about, no matter what they put on their Twitter, we know that the facts are on my side, and we're going to be in court defending those.
After she left New Jersey, she went to the rotunda there, Statuary Hall, I'm sorry, and there was an impromptu news conference as Democrats stood with her and addressed the media, saying they're not going to allow her to go through this by herself. And so her trial is set for November 10th. All right, folks, in Texas, the grand jury there has indicted a black teen who stabbed a white teen at a track meet. That black teen has been indicted on first-degree murder charges. Carmelo Anthony admitted stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, but maintains it was in self-defense. Collin County DA Greg Willis called Metcalf's death a violent loss that shook the community. The confrontation reportedly began when Anthony sat under Metcalf's high school tent during a weather delay. After Metcalf repeatedly told Anthony to move, Anthony warned him not to touch him. According to reports, Metcalf then grabbed Anthony, prompting Anthony to stab him once in the chest. Anthony is out on $250,000 bond and was allowed to graduate from high school. Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, called the indictment an expected routine step in the legal process. A trial date has not been set. All right, folks, this one here. I saw this video and I said, I got to play this for our Thursday panel. And when you want to talk about disdain for the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon con man in chief, I just love this black woman. Okay, so let me explain something to y'all. This grandmother here, they went to the doctor's office and they were trying to do a cognitive test, and they asked her a series of questions. And they asked, and y'all know I do not refer to that orange stain of the title of president. And this sister right here clearly watches Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roll it.
What's the president name, Mom Cheryl? You just say it and then get on over with. Just say his first letter.
Nothing. Mama, you got to. I don't like him. Okay, we know. I don't like him. Name or no name, I don't like him. We know that. We know. We know that. But you have to tell her, because she asked you, and this is part of your test, what his name is. Or what's his first name? Nothing. Sorry, that's it. That's my feeling. I take nothing. Okay.
I'm real petty, so roll that one more time.
What's the president's name, Mom Cheryl? You just say it and then get on over with. Just say his first letter.
Nothing. Mama, you got it. I don't like him. Okay, we know I don't like him. Name or no name, I don't like him. We know that. We know that. But you have to tell her, because she asked you, and this is part of your test, what his name is. Or what's his first name? Nothing. Sorry, that's it. That's my feeling. I take nothing.
Yo, no, I'm with her. I'm with her. Damn it, y'all should have asked for the governor or the mayor, but she like, nah, I ain't naming his punk ass.
She said, I am not calling Candyman over here. She said, I will not invoke the devil today, Lord.
Right.
That's exactly what she said. She said, I will not.
Mama.
That's something my mama would have did.
Mama, just say his name. She like, Reese, she don't give a damn. She like, nah, we gonna sit here. Hey, right. Reese, I think she passed the cognitive test.
Absolutely, she did. The whole thing is, do you have your faculties around you? And if you have the discernment to know that Donald Trump ain't shit, then you absolutely passed the cognitive test with flying colors. It just reminded me of Bernie Mac, him downstairs. You know, yeah. Like, I'm not even gonna say your name. You just him.
Who here?
Downstairs.
Him downstairs.
Him downstairs.
Cause I want some milk and cookies.
That to say, you had cookies and shit. Yeah, him downstairs. Oh, go ahead, Granny. I ain't even mad at it. Go ahead. Say what you want to say or don't.
Greg, when I saw that video, I said, oh, hell yes. I'm rolling that one on the show.
No, absolutely. You know, she was sitting there. She looks like my mother. I could see my mom, like you said, no, I could see my mom doing the same thing. Yeah. And of course, now, on the pain of being marked as somehow mentally diminished, and God only knows what that triggers, but as we were sitting there, I'm looking at that white nurse sitting there, who eventually says, I'll take nothing. But I'm thinking, how many people in the United States of America where there are still, I think that white nurse we saw is maybe one of maybe 5 or 6 left white nurses in the country. And of course, of the ones who are not white, how many of them are immigrants? We're all about to find out. But I'm thinking about that lady sitting there and say, what if that was a waiting room or an examination room in Iowa or rural Mississippi? What if it was in rural Alabama? And while there may be some jokes in that room, when it's time to come out and pay the bill and you realize your Medicaid has had its throat cut, it's not fun and games. So I couldn't help but think about the humanity of everyone caught up in this racist world. We just got news, of course, that the Senate people are like, hey, man, you can't do this to this bill and it be legal. At least it will violate Senate policy. And so we may be in for a hell of a ride, but at the end of the day, they've been trying to get carve-outs for those rural hospitals. They're trying to pinch off some money here and feed their MAGA constituents. But all I saw in that room was a woman who could be my mother saying, I ain't doing that. And as a dutiful child, me saying, okay, and a white woman sitting on a stool that might represent a constituency and places in this country that in a minute you won't be able to have that conversation because there won't be no jobs, saying, I'll take nothing. We can get along.
Mm-hmm.
If we ain't got no money, it could be that that sister would jump off that that examination table and choke that white woman if it comes down to her losing her coverage. We can all be kiki and I'll take nothing, or the bell can ring. We ain't got no money. At that point, all this feel good gonna turn into a fight.
See, I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in any of the nonsense. See, I'm not about. See, I have zero tolerance for those folk. I'm just telling you right now. Hey, it's just like I don't know how many of y'all saw this video. This black woman was in an automotive place in North Carolina, and they were talking, and Juneteenth came up, and she heard the conversation, and she was like, "Oh hell no! Bring me my car." Y'all watch this.
We're stopped this morning. Oh, then we're good. Yeah, the first when I went to the thing, I got it. Yeah, that's fine. I can
turn audio up.
Okay. 1, 2, we're still stacked. Why are the banks closed tomorrow? Juneteenth. New holiday they did 2 years ago. Okie dokie then.
I know, right? My fucking truck. Pull my truck around. Please. Pull my truck around. And give me my keys to my truck. I don't want this to done. Please go get my truck. Thank you. Is it this one right here? Yeah, no, it's a Mercury problem. What's that?
He said Juneteenth was the holiday tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not. Like, we got mad about it. He has one of the banks proposed for the Juneteenth.
I don't even know what is Juneteenth.
Exactly, nobody really knows, but I think it's something to do with reparations or something.
Yeah.
I thought it had something to do with reparations. Now, Reese, the company thought that they were doing something by saying, "Oh, we're gonna post a video ourselves." They made it worse. And guess what?
Right.
Folk were like, don't get your car fixed there. I'm with that sister. No, bring my shit around. No, I am not giving y'all money. Y'all want to sit here and mock Juneteenth? Yo, we out.
Period. If you want to, then you can get my motherfucking keys, because I'm not getting my car. I'm not getting my service here. You're not taking my money. I don't even see what's funny about Juneteenth. Y'all need to be more ashamed, because what the Republicans have been saying is that if you teach people about the history of slavery in this country, that white folks is going to feel so ashamed of themselves, little white kids going to have low self-esteem. So instead of kicking, you should be sitting up there saying, you get a free oil change today. You get a free oil change today, but only if you black.
Y'all, the place
that would be reparations.
The place is called, that's Wilson, North Carolina, and the place is called Synergy Auto Care. Synergy Auto Care. And yo, hey Greg, it's been several places I fly in airports. Matter of fact, I remember I went to go pick up my Navigator from the dealer, and they had Fox News. Y'all got to change TV.
Oh, wow.
I don't play that. If I got to sit my ass in this waiting room, ain't nobody watching Fox News.
I'm kind of the same.
Well, I don't give a damn. I'm like, no. I'm going to need y'all to turn the TV. And they might look, I'm like, I ain't watching Fox News. Y'all going to turn the damn TV. No, hell no. We ain't roll. No. My deal is, that's how we going to roll.
Well, brother, I tell you, I'm sure you spend a great deal of time getting TVs turned, especially
you damn right I
do. Because I think that's the default channel on so many, and I think that there's a story behind that. But like I said, more power to you, brother. I just be like, I put my AirPods in. I don't even. But yeah, I heard what you're saying, and that's the strategy we should pursue. I mean, we have to make noise, just like that sister did. I'm not gonna spend my money here. I think today is the anniversary of the day that Prescott King started the Martin Luther King Center. And I think about those who would say there are ways to build bridges with these folk. We can reason with them and we can try to figure things out. And there are people Non-black people, you know, we just got news today that Bill Moyers, the great journalist, made transition at 91.
Passed away at the age of 91, yep.
Yes, sir. And I think about now here's a guy who high up in the Johnson administration, worked inside government, but also became a journalist who spoke truth to power, and he's a white man. There are ways to do that. But if you can't appeal to people's morals and you've given them chance after chance, and then they're in a situation where they think they're in power, which means they're not thinking about you, and they say something like that, then yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm leaving now. And now the real test would have been who else got up. But guess what? They went on right back to their life. Why? Because we don't count. And to all you Negroes that think that your master somehow going to love you, you should probably run that clip right there on the loop. Not just what she did, but in the few seconds we saw after where nobody else got up and walked out. And there's the problem.
Well, we'll close this out, Nola. That was this other video where a black woman was called a bitch by the waitress. And man, folk lit that bar up. And then the owner comes out, don't apologize, trying to explain away. We getting harassed, we getting phone calls. They sitting here giving us bad ratings. And folk like, no, we ain't going to your bar. Nola, the thing that I need our people to understand, that's called economic withdrawal.
Yeah.
We don't have to spend. I talk all the time about MLK's sermon on April 3rd, 1968. And he said, we ain't got to throw the Molotov cocktail. We ain't got to raise our voices. He said, we just withdraw our money. He said, if you not going to do right by us, we going to take our money elsewhere. And that's what we do in the Target. You've got that boycott that's all week with McDonald's. You've got people who are using their power. The reality is this here. We don't have to spend our money at places where we ain't respected. And so absolutely, and penalize them, light them up on social, give them awful ratings, throw a picket up at their joint. Let everybody know, don't come here where they got some ignorant fools here, and this is how you make them pay. You make them pay at the pocketbook.
Absolutely. And we've seen it be effective, right? And I think we need the next iteration. We need the next step to this, because we see this administration gutting small business, business loans and opportunities for small business owners, especially Black folks, to get loans to open these businesses. So we need to start thinking about how to build upon this momentum and build that infrastructure to give entrepreneurs and small business owners resources to open up establishments that can counter the myriad of things that we are experiencing in these places, because the economic withdrawal is absolutely working. I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like for McDonald's. That's going to be a very interesting test. But I think the next step of this is infrastructure and investing in our own businesses, because it's not going to happen from the federal government. It's not going to be support there. So we need to start thinking about that part of it.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
The one thing I want to say, two quick things about the video before that. Was that a sister who stayed and she didn't walk out with her? And then secondly, they continued the conversation and continued to demean Juneteenth. Did I get all that?
Yeah, they continued the conversation. They said, I think it has something to do with reparations. That's what they said. And so here's all I have for everybody watching. I need y'all to do me a favor, okay? And I've done this before. If y'all gonna shoot videos, don't. Oh,
here we go.
Don't shoot vertical. Don't shoot vertical.
Here we go.
Okay? Because see, when y'all shoot vertical, we got black bars on the side. I need y'all to shoot horizontal. And see, and look, if y'all gon' let me show you. Now come to me. See, I'm helping y'all out. See, let me just give y'all, this is a selfie lesson, a video lesson. I want you to hold your phone like this. And see, that way you can maneuver. And do me a favor, keep that shit steady. I can't stand some of y'all shooting videos and y'all, come on, give me the shot. Some of y'all be, give me the, some of y'all be like, all this here. See, I need y'all to, see that here? Steady. Look how I'm holding it. See? Steady. That way we can see. No, give me a shot of holding a phone. See this here? steady. Y'all see how, you see what my fingers here? I ain't blocking the camera. We ain't doing that. Matter of fact, some of y'all can't shoot with the camera up top. So just turn your phone this way and have the camera at the bottom. So that way your fingers are nowhere. But if y'all gonna shoot, that's right. Shoot this way. That way your phone is locked. Y'all see how steady this is? And then, come on, give me the shot. See this here? Yeah, boom. See, we ain't shaking. We ain't shaking. Then when they move right, I need y'all to slowly pan. Then when they move left, I need y'all to slowly pan. Okay, so just do me a favor. When y'all shooting these crazy cops and these Karens and all these folk acting a fool, please shoot horizontal so we can, that way it fills the whole screen as opposed to shooting vertical. Then we got 2 black bars on the side. That's just a PSA right there. So that's just like a little pet peeve of mine. That pet peeve of mine, just like folk who use DJI or Rode microphones with a big ass fur ball sitting on top. Yeah, precisely. Okay, and for all y'all out there who don't understand television, that is called a wind screen. That little furry thing is called a wind screen. That thing is designed to reduce the wind that's actually when you're outside, and so you're not getting now. It's a wind screen. So if you sit in your ass indoors, okay, where there's no breeze where you are, take the little furry chia pet looking ass item off. And then also,
cute. And she is minding her business.
And then lastly, you can clip the microphone on. It is designed to clip onto your shirt.
What's the point
and some of them actually have a magnet on the back where you can slide it under your clothes and then attach it to it. So if you don't want the microphone in the shot, you can lower the microphone. So I'm just saying. I
know what a lavalier is.
I'm just saying. No, but you sitting here looking all. You sitting here looking all. I'm on the show, and I'm talking right into the furry damn microphone. I'm just saying. Lord,
bro, did you hear? I thought those 7 words. I don't know if you heard, what's the point of having cute nails? I think that was the determinative.
Ain't nobody watching your ass for no damn cute nails, okay? And if you so let me go ahead and teach you, Nola, if you're gonna do television, okay? Get me on camera 3. Get me on camera 3. So get me on camera 3. So see, Nola, let me explain something to you. See, you don't quite understand. So you see the screen right here. You got the lower thirds right here. You got the graphic down here at the bottom. I don't know why. First of all, I don't know why we got a democracy at risk lower third talking about the grandma video. Can y'all wait the hell up in the control room, please? Please pay attention. So let me help you out, Nola, when you're on television, because you're talking to a Hall of Famer, okay? I'm only in 5 Halls of Fame. So, Nola, those of us, when we wear suits and cufflinks, if we want to show our cufflinks, this is what we do. When we talk, we sit there talking, we sort of extend our arms. So, the arms come out. That way, all of a sudden, they can see the cufflinks.
Oh, you mean men?
No, I ain't done. Listen. So then if you're talking, you don't sit here and talk with your hands down, and what you say is, well, I need you to understand that one of the things that you can see, you see how the hands are, you see how the nails can be shown, you see how the ring can be shown, and then you do one of these moves like then you do another move. You say, and one more thing, boom, finger goes up, nails being shown. So you can do all of that without showing that furry ass microphone if you want to show your little new nail job.
All those little masculine moves that you just did.
No, I'm showing you. I'm instructing you on how to do that on television where it's not obvious and you're not sitting there going, I got a big ass windscreen. I'm talking right into it.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, I thank the black people in St. Louis who gave me this fan. See, this is probably why you need a furry ass microphone if you got a personal fan.
I'm prepared, honey. I have fan and microphone.
That ain't doing nothing. So I'm just simply saying, Lord have mercy. Lord, I gotta teach people how to do some damn television. We got all them damn degrees, and we can't read a manual to understand. We talking in a windscreen. See what happens? You can have a PhD, a ED, a MBA, a JHD, a division degree. You can have every damn degree. You can have all them letters behind your name, and you want to say you can't read a manual on how to use a microphone. Okay,
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I'm done. Greg, let me thank you very much for being here. Reese, thank you for keeping cussing to a minimum.
Wait,
I said MF just one time, so we appreciate.
Well, I did have one more thing to add.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I just have to add, because we kind of sped past the Congresswoman LaMonica McIver point, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that this administration has been attacking elected leaders. However, when it comes to the men, when you think about Mayor Ross Baraka, when you think about Comptroller Brad Lander, and even when you think about Senator Alex Padilla, they haven't been charged, or if they have been charged, the charges have been dropped. But when it comes to women, when you think about the judge Hannah Duggan in Wisconsin and Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, they are going full speed ahead with charging these women. And it goes back to what I've been saying for years, that we already don't have citizenship in this country. The Supreme Court today already ruled again that not only can states discriminate against Planned Parenthood for abortion services, but also for non-abortion care. And so what we're seeing is an attack not just on the citizenship of women, but of the leadership of women. They want to make sure that women are subjugated in this country, whether that's a woman in an elected position or a woman in a judicial position. So I'm telling all the women in this country, you better wake the fuck up, because they are not even nearly done yet, and they are not backing down from their war on women.
You done cussing?
Thank you, Reese.
You done cussing?
I'm done. That was only one cuss word.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I thought we had gotten through with just one MF and one F, but we added another one to it. So, all right. Thank you very much, Greg Carr. Appreciate it. Thanks for sitting in for me on Tuesday when I was speaking in Syracuse. I saw some of y'all little petty ass comments in the section complaining about the audio. That wasn't me. We had the line hooked up from the audio dudes, and so I can't be running the camera standing at the damn podium. But it's all good, because see, what happens is when you think in advance, you do that. So I recorded my audio on my DJI microphone in my damn pocket, Nola. I wasn't holding it with a furry, had a lavalier attached. So we got clean audio there. So we're going to drop that on top of the video and then restream the speech so y'all can actually hear it. And so we appreciate that. And so that's how you are to properly use DJI wireless microphones.
Thank you, Mr. Man.
Yes, thank you very much. So, Greg, thanks for sitting in for me, Frat. I certainly appreciate it. Matter of fact, hold up. I was in St. Louis. Which phone did I shoot this on? I was in St. Louis last week. Let me go ahead and find this. Black people, black people are the king and queens of shout out. I thought I sent this to Greg. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me go ahead and do this before we go. Then we really gonna get out of here. Let me do this right here. So black people love saying, "Hey, can you tell so and so I said hello?" And they always. I'm like, y'all, listen. I can't sit here, so it happens all the time. So I utilize technology, Nola, in order to properly do those things. And so I was in St. Louis. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and first of all, let me flip this, crop it properly. Here we go. Okay, all right. So no, that was sister. She wanted to say something to Dion Cole. I think I sent to him. See, y'all don't understand what my life is like. I go places and black people got all kind of stuff to say. Some woman.
Well, they say the same thing. Hey, tell Roland I said what up.
I know. No. They want to know. Now, be sure to tell them. So I just go ahead.
Why Roland treat you like that? That's what I get.
They know exactly why. And why? When you see them now, they're gonna be like, Nola, put that furry ass thing down. What's
Are they? Are they gonna say, girl, your nails are so cute and Roland's such a bully, girl. You look cute, girl. You look cute. That's what they always tell me.
Nobody gonna say that.
That's what they always tell me.
Nobody. So I'm looking. Somebody.
You don't find this video.
No, I did. No, and I thought I sent it. I thought I sent it to Greg because this woman was.
Yeah, no, I don't see. I didn't see it, Ro.
This woman was insistent on me telling. Hold it, was it on this phone over here? She was insistent on me.
No.
Will you please? No, please, down. I'll go. Greg Carr. Oh my Lord.
Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Ooh, Lord, Greg Carr is my favorite. You please. You tell Greg. Matter of fact, I found it. See, y'all think I'm lying. Y'all think. Here we go. Hold on. Let me drop this sucker right now on my iPad that's connected. So. Cause
if none of us took this long, he would be talking so much.
Hey, when you get your own show, you can do what you want to do. This was hold up. This was in St. Louis. This was in St. Louis. I promised this sister I'm gonna do this video. So here y'all go. She wanted it. She wanted Greg to know she watched him. All right, here we go. All right, Greg, she got something to tell you.
Everyone can have their seat. We're going to start our program again in 2 minutes.
I love you, love you, love you.
All right, Fred, holla at you. She's on this. I love you, love you, love you.
That's sweet. She look like can be my auntie, my KRC. That's all. Where were you there, man?
I was in St. Louis when the hell was I? Yeah, I've been on the road crazy. I was in St. Louis last Friday. Was I in St. Louis last Friday?
See,
where the hell was I?
Saying, you know,
I was in Columbus, Memphis. I think it was in St. Louis last week. So yeah, I was in St. Louis.
Everybody, it's like Reese said and like Nola said, we can't go nowhere without everybody saying roll it, everywhere. In the last 3 weeks, I see Birmingham, Dayton, Nashville, Atlanta, New York, Philly, those places. And I ain't been nowhere. And I know I can speak for both of y'all. But you know what? It's so funny. It was Denzel Washington talking to somebody, and maybe it was Steve Harvey, Denzel Washington. That was comparison. And Denzel said, you know, I'm in the movie, so people pay to see me once every 2 or 3 years on a big 40-foot screen, and they don't think they know me. But you on TV every day, so people walk up to you like you they friends. That's the difference between a movie.
You for real,
I'm
exactly.
I know we have this on video because we told the story, but I ain't got time to look for it. Y'all. This is a true. We about to go after this one. This is 100% true. This is no lie. I'm flying to the Jeffrey Osborne golf tournament. We on the plane. Said the entertainers on the plane. Henry, who works here. Henry is sitting in first class. I don't know how he got in first class. So we all sit. Come on now, you got to be petty. So we all so we land. And we're waiting on our bags. And the sister walked up. She's like, "Oh my God, Roland Martin. Oh my God." Then she turns. She looks at Sid. She went, "You look familiar." Then she went, "Okay, whatever." And so she goes back. Y'all, I'm not lying. She goes back. And she's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "Do you have people who were supposed to be aborted and then their mamas did this?" She starts telling me a story about her mom was going to abortion, and then she changed her mind. As after she was born, I was like, "Well, I've actually had the people on the show who are pro-life." She's like, "Well, I think I would love to come on and talk about it." Then she goes, Here, take this picture." And she literally turns and said was like, what the hell? Yeah, I was like, no, baby, give me the phone. Right. I said, give me the phone.
That's
do a selfie. So I do a selfie.
They see me every day.
And she walks away and said goes, "Well, damn, I guess the disguise I got on worked." And it was,
or not.
And what he said was, he said, when you're on television every day, people, they act like they friends. He said that's how it was when he hosted BET Comic View. And I'll have people see me, they be like, "Hey, Uncle Roro, hey, Roro." They be like, "Hold up, I don't know you." I was like, "Y'all, it's all good. Ain't no thing. You can just, you can speak." So that happens. And so I always appreciate talking to people, seeing people. It does crack me up when grown dudes be like, "Yo, what up, Uncle Roro?" And on that point, some of y'all black people, some of y'all celebrities, get over your egotistical asses. If people call your ass auntie or unc, It's a term of endearment. They ain't disrespecting you. They not trashing you. It's a term of endearment. And for some, like I had some fool, I'm about to sit here, don't make me call your name because you know I would. Gonna send me an email. It's disrespectful for you to call Congresswoman Maxine Waters Auntie Maxine. I said, man, shut the hell up. I said, I called. I said, first of all, she ain't got no problem calling that, you know. But it just gets on my nerves when people just get tripped like that because we have.
What you looking for now?
Huh?
What you looking for now? You looking for something?
No. Homeboy sent me an email, and I was like, man, go to hell. Well, it's just you know I say your name. You send me an email, your ass might be public. But I just want people to understand, it ain't nothing wrong with that. It's all good. All right, y'all, we got to go. All right, that's it. Greg, Reese, Nola, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, that's it for us. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You're going to contribute to the show. Please do so. Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Also, if you want to sit here and support us, check a money order, mail it to, make it out to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 5, send it to P.O. Box 57196. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You also, of course, can support the work that we do. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Then you can also, of course, get out my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available bookstores nationwide. Download the audio version on Audible. Don't forget to also get our gear, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Black Star Network gear. Go to rolandmartin.creator-spring.com. The QR code's there as well. If you ordered stuff and you haven't gotten it, send us an email. We'll help you out. And, of course, support the Black-owned products that we have at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com. You see it right there. And, of course, we want you to download the app Fanbase. If you want to invest, go to startengine.com/Fanbase. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin, Unfiltered, Black Star Network. Holla! Time for Truth Talks.